What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers ended up getting two athletic, versatile wings that can slot in at either forward spot, right? They got Otto Athero. He's a guy, 6'8", versatile, right? Basically like a more athletic Jared Vanderbilt. Doesn't really have the three, definitely something that needs to be worked on with him with the three-point shooting. But picture Jared Vanderbilt just more athletic and just longer, like a bigger Jared Vanderbilt who's more athletic, right? That's what basically Thero is, right? He's a guy that I am super excited for. I didn't think he would be there. I mean, he was as high as like 15th on many draft boards. And so the fact that he fell all the way to the second round and to the 36th pick nonetheless, right? So that is very interesting in and of itself. And then the Lakers also got Eric Dixon, right? Which again, he was the best offensive player in all of college basketball last year. He is looked at as one of, if not the best, ready now prospects in this draft. I also think it's very interesting that the Lakers essentially drafted a Rui Hachimura and Jared Vanderbilt replacement, right? I mean, Eric Dixon is a guy that can slot in 3 through 5 for you, right? More athletic Rui Hachimura gives you the offensive production, shooting, whatnot, right? Very comparable to, I kind of look at him more as like a Julius Randle type. It kind of reminds me of Julius Randle. But, you look at Eric Dixon, it's like, it's kind of interesting. And then again, a Jared Vanderbilt, it's like, it's kind of interesting, right? And one of the things, though, that the Lakers still need is the center position, right? Reports, even as when we were doing the draft, were like, hey, after they drafted, Theron, everyone was like, hey, they're still active. They're still talking to Miami and all these other teams. Well, if the Lakers were to trade for a center or a starting level 3-and-D wing, guess what they would have to trade? Rui Hachimura and potentially Jared Vanderbilt. Rui Hachimura for sure is probably going, right? And with Miami Heat, Miami wants Rui Hachimura in a potential Andrew Wiggins trade, right? So if you trade Andrew Wiggins or trade for Andrew Wiggins and he's now your starting 3, well, guess what? You really could use a Rui Hachimura replacement. Cue Eric Dixon, right? If you then go trade for Andrew Wiggins and then you want to go trade for a center, right? Let's say a Nick Claxton or something like that, right? Okay, because Nick Claxton and Andrew Wiggins are said to be the two most likely players that the Lakers can land. Okay, Lakers get Andrew Wiggins. That's going to cost you Gabe Vincent and Rui Hachimura. Then you got to go trade for another, well, I think it's like $25 million off the top of my head, something like that, $27 million. Let's call it 27 to be safe, right? You would have to, if you're not trading Austin Reeves, you would have to trade a Jared Vanderbilt, right? You'd have to do Vando with a Maxi Kleba, probably a Dalton Connect and a Shake Milton, right? And then now you can get and then Shake Milton, they could just waive because he's on a non-guarantee, so that's not a big deal. But you'd have to do something like that, whether it's you're sending it to the Nets or you're working on a 3-team, whatever, right? If you wanted to keep that. Well, guess what? You got your Jared Vanderbilt replacement. You could even argue Eric Dixon could give you your Dalton Connect replacement if the Lakers were to trade Dalton Connect, which begs the question of, do they end up trading him in an Andrew Wiggins trade or one of these center trades, right? Because, again, like, reports came out that the Miami Heat want Dalton Connect in the trade for Andrew Wiggins, but the Lakers do not want to include Dalton Connect in that deal. Well, now that they got Eric Dixon, does that maybe change kind of their thought process and approach? Do they go, okay, well, now we can afford to lose. I mean, Dixon and Connect are the same age, right? Same age. And, you could argue Eric Dixon would be a better impact player than even Dalton Connect was last year. He's not the shoot, like Dalton Connect shooting wise is like ridiculous, but Eric Dixon gives you probably better defense. He's bigger, so he gives you more versatility as where you can slot him. He gives you NBA level shooting, right? He's one of the better shooters in the draft. He shot 41% on like 7 attempts from 3-point range, right? So again, you kind of go down the list and it's like, okay, what do the Lakers need? They need a center and they need a starting level 3-and-D wing. They need somebody to upgrade over a Rui Hachimura. Okay, well, who are the guys that they most likely get? Andrew Wiggins is the guy that's been heavily linked to Lakers and a lot of talks, and Lakers are still engaged with Miami and this, that, and the other and all that stuff. Okay, well, what would you have to trade to go get him? You'd have to trade a Gabe Vincent and you'd have to trade a Rui Hachimura most likely. Okay, well, how do you replace Rui? Oh, you got Eric Dixon, right? Like, how do you replace, Gabe Vincent? Bronny James is expected to be an actual rotation piece next year, or you can go get a DeAnthony Melton or something like that, right? If they end up trading Dalton Connect, again, Eric Dixon is a guy that could be that, or again, you could just go get a Gary Harris or something, and now you got the veteran, 3-and-D guy that can slot in and be that for you, right? Like, Lakers, more likely than not, are going to have they could potentially, depending on how these trades shape up, which I do believe the Lakers make a trade, depending on how these trades shape up, the Lakers could end up with, 5, maybe 6 open roster spots. Like, realistically. I mean, right now, without doing a single move, right? You have, you'd have now the draft pick come in, but you have Markieff Morris, Alex Lynn, and Jackson Hayes off your books. Those are 3 guys. So you have 3 open roster spots now. I guess 2 because of your draft pick, but essentially you have 2 open roster spots right now, and that's not counting Shake Milton, who you can waive free and clear, right? He's on a non-guaranteed deal. You can waive him free and clear, and you're good. Okay, well, then after that, let's say you do trade for a Rui and a Gabe Vincent for an Andrew Wiggins. Well, now you have 3 open roster spots with Shake Milton that you can waive. There you go. There's 4, right? Okay, well then let's say you go and you trade for Nick Claxton, and that takes Shake Milton, Dalton Connect, Maxi Kleber, and Jared Vanderbilt, right? So there's another 4 guys right there that you had to trade, and you're only getting back 1, right? Like, so now you have what would you have? 3 more? You could have 6 open roster spots. Okay, well, you bring in Eric Dixon, right? So now you have 5. You bring in a Christian Koloko as like your 3rd big. So now you have 4. And then Lakers are probably only going to fill up to the 14th. So then you go get, like I said, a DeAnthony Melton, a Gary Harris, right? And then, I don't know, a Clint Capella. There we go. You need your backup center, right? A Clint Capella or something like that. Or maybe they go trade for a Nick Richards or something like that. Boom. Now you have kind of your roster lined up. You have that 15 spot open for whatever happens. Or again, maybe LeBron takes a discount and you free up your full mid-level exception. Lakers are hard capped at the second apron because they used cash in order to land and move up in the draft for draft picks. So you got to keep that in mind. Lakers are hard capped at the second apron. So they will not be able to exceed the second apron. Although I don't think that would happen regardless. I don't think the Lakers are going to exceed the second apron no matter what. So I'm not really worried about that. I think Lakers will be fine in that regard. I don't think that was ever the plan. Right? They didn't want to be a second apron team last year either. And the type of trades and things that they want to do, and especially come the trade deadline, right? Because you might not be able to solve all your needs right now in the offseason. You might have to look to the trade deadline to solve some other needs and whatnot. So you might need kind of that open roster spot and stuff and whatever else, right? And be under the second apron so you can make some moves. And so we'll see what the Lakers end up doing and how that ends up playing out and working out. But I do think that this signals, because the Lakers didn't get anything else, right? They didn't get, they need a center. They didn't get another center. Okay, well, they have Christian Koloko and they have Trey Jamison, okay. But, you couldn't have gotten, a Rocco, right, 19, right, 18, 19, just been a development guy for the next, 3 years. What happens if Koloko and Jamison don't work out? Or what happens if, one of them does, right? And then, now your Rocco is your backup or whatever, right? Wouldn't it hurt to get a guy? You need a center, right? You need some depth. You need at that position. It wouldn't hurt to bring in a guy and just see, right? Even in undrafted. I'm not even talking about with your draft pick. I think the Lakers made the right choice with the draft pick. But I'm talking about not even remove the draft pick. I'm talking about undrafted. There were several centers, right? Golden was available, right? Rocco was available. You had several centers that you easily could have gotten that were even linked to the Lakers potentially drafting, right? So you had several options that you could have landed, and the Lakers just were like, nah, we're good. Nah, we're fine. We'll just go this way. We're gonna go down this path, right? And go get 2 forwards, which again, I agree with. I think the Lakers made the right choice by getting those 2 forwards. Personally, I think that was the right move, the right choice, the right decision. However, it's a little strange, right? You basically got your Rui and Jared Vanderbilt replacement. Now, you could just argue it wouldn't hurt to have another Jared Vanderbilt and another Rui Hachimura off the bench, right? Like, having Thero and Jared Vanderbilt off the bench, like, good luck. Those two just hounding you with their size, their length, their athleticism, their versatility, them both crashing the glass. Like, it would be fun to watch. And then imagine Rui going to the bench only to be replaced by another Rui, right? Like, and how good Rui has been for the Lakers. So again, like, that very well could have been the case. The Lakers could have just been like, hey, look, these are the two guys that were best available. So we just went that route. And it was as simple as that. And it was nothing crazy or anything to like look into too heavily. But I don't know. I think that I think it's very interesting that what happened. And I do think, given all the news, given all the reports that like, hey, Lakers trade's coming, I think that this is something to kind of keep an eye on and look out for. But again, time will tell. We'll see how this all plays out, and we'll see what the Lakers do if they do anything. I know a lot of people kind of think the Lakers aren't going to do anything. I disagree. I think the Lakers are going to do something, just like I said that they were going to do something at the trade deadline. I didn't think it'd be Luka, but I said I'm all but sure that the Lakers are going to make a move. I feel the same way this year. I think Lakers are going to make a move. Bare minimum, they're going to solve the center position. Will they get an Andrew Wiggins and something else? I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. So pass question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So if you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.